Hello, 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 and welcome again to another Love Wrestling Reacts War Report Live for AEW on Wednesday, I don't even know what day it is, May 19th. I am joined by my two friends here this evening. To the side, we have the Canadian Goose. Honk, honk. What's going on, Goose? How are you today?
I'm good. May 19th. You know what that means. See no evil.
Oh, there we go. I saw that on the Twitterverse today. I saw a couple things saying that. And then below us here on stream, we have my friend, John. How are we doing, buddy? How are we tonight?
I'm doing well, guys. How are we doing? That was a good show. Let's get at it.
It was. Yeah, it was a good show. And we are joined once again by the man himself, Spencer. Spenny in the Jet says, hello, friends. Hello, Spencer. How are you? Thank you for joining us and hopping on the chat. As always, we appreciate you, sir.
No sparklers right now.
No sparklers, not tonight. We watched the budget on here on the War Report, all right?
I'm lucky the lights are on here at the War Report studios.
Yeah. All right, let's get right after it. I agree with you, John. I thought tonight was another solid episode of AEW Dynamite. Most of them are, which makes, watching Wednesday nights a lot easier than some of the other nights. So
yeah, I watched Raw on Monday and did the recap with Spencer, and I can tell you that this was a much more fun to watch show.
Well, there you go. Right from the Goose's mouth. All right, so we opened the show with a good match, a very good match, I thought. It was Christian Cage against Matt Sydal. I thought this match was really good. I thought it showcased Sydal really well. From a Dynamite perspective, we don't see him a ton since he's been with the company. He does a lot of his work on Elevation and Dark, so it was good to see him on Dynamite. And he got some really good offensive sequences during this match, which was nice to see, make him look good because he's a guy that's been around for a long time and been in the WWE, been on, that mainstream. So it's good to see him get some time and some actual really good looking spots throughout the match. Goose, I'll pass it off to you. What did you think about this opening match to start Dynamite tonight?
Both Matt Sydal and Christian still got it. I thought it was fantastic. I like that we're talking about this now because I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. It's nice to see Christian back in action, and like I say, he hasn't missed a step. And Matt Sydal, I haven't seen a lot of him lately, but he doesn't seem to have missed a step either. And this took me right back to like ECW in like 2009 or 2010.
Yeah, around that era, for sure.
But this was like probably a significantly better match than they would have had on ECW. Because they were given time and they're allowed to pretty much, do what they want rather than
be limited to what, they would have been limited to. All right, John, we'll pass it off to you. This opening bout here with Christian, what'd you think? Christian does get the victory, so he is still undefeated, and Taz was on commentary throughout the match. Obviously, whenever Taz is on commentary, I'm a big fan of it. I love Taz. And I liked how just throughout the match, he was just openly saying, like, I do not want Christian Cage to win this match. Like, we all know he doesn't because they're feuding, but he's just so open, like, yeah, no, I don't want him to win at all. I'm not rooting for him. I hate him. Like, he's just, like, just talking so much trash.
I don't think that Taz really comes at it I don't see him coming at it from the prospect of being, like, a broadcast journalist.
Exactly, partial.
He is straight up just a hype guy in the corner of his boys on commentary, doing guest commentary for this match because he didn't do commentary for any other matches.
Exactly. Yeah. So John,
my other favorite moment when he was like, last week somehow he squeaked out the victory.
Yeah.
By hitting him with his finish clean in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
Taz is awesome.
Dude.
That stuff. That's good. This match for me, it was a good match, and I like the pairing with Sydal and Christian, like you alluded to, Goose. They a little bit of a throwback there. Basically, you put Christian in the ring with guys that can work and give him these matches. So getting that ring rust off in a lot of ways. He still hasn't wrestled a ton, so it's really good of him to get those reps in. And of course, this was a nice little resume patter for the rankings, because I think that's eventually where we're going to go with is Christian and Omega at some point. So,
yeah.
And it's what AEW does, man. Every week, they put on, a really good first match to draw you in and hook you. It's not a boring 20-minute long promo or segment that you would be like, moving on to the next thing. So
it was a way better match than AJ Styles versus Elias.
Yeah, I would say so.
Did that open Raw? I haven't watched Raw yet. I got
after MVP and Bobby Lashley and the Ho Train came out and did their promo. Then they went to Bobby Lashley and Elias.
Yeah. But no, overall, good opening match.
Yes, and then after the match. Oh, yeah. And after the match, Taz on the commentary table gets up, starts yelling at Christian, kind of distracts them. And Christian and Seidel were having a respectful moment in the ring after the match. And Ricky Starks comes out. And it was good to see Ricky Starks, obviously.
$1 million.
Yes. And unfortunately, everything going around saying that he injured his neck and he's going to be out for a little bit. So it was still good to see him there on the screen and not,
stiff. He was very stiff when he walked out.
I didn't like him. I thought he looked like a sleaze bag. But
that's what he's going for, Goose.
Yeah, I thought he was an effective heel for sure. I'm not super familiar with him, but I was definitely like, this guy's a dickhead. And then it was confirmed when Taz's other two guys jumped in.
Exactly.
He got the beat down from behind.
I'm glad that they're finding a way to use Ricky Starks.
I am too.
Though he's hurt, because he's so good on the mic. He can carry promos, and like he did today, carries this angle further. The only thing I was wondering is, have we ever seen Hook not jump somebody?
No.
He's never.
Hook's finisher must be like a chop block from behind, because that's the only thing I've ever.
It's the only thing he ever does. It's the only thing he ever does.
I want more from Hook. Can we finally get to the point where Hook's getting involved a little bit more than just jumping somebody and then waiting for Brian Cage to finish him off?
Yeah. The one thing I did like, though, is when Hangman came out. So Cage and Hobbs attack Christian and Seidel from behind with Hook, and they're beating them down, and Hangman comes out to make the save. And I love the little touch that he just gives Ricky Starks. Hey, hold my drink. Hold my drink as I go fight off your friends. Hold my drink for me. I love that little touch.
He also gets in there. The greatest shirt of all time.
Oh yeah, Hangman is just A+. He is. So he gets in there, fights off a little bit, but then he ends up getting a huge power bomb from Cage. They're fighting at Double or Nothing next weekend. So they continued that storyline. I thought that was effective. It carried through the stories, continuing with Christian and Team Taz and building up to, Hangman Page and Brian Cage at Double or Nothing. But before we continue, let's say some hello to some of our friends in the chat. We got our buddy Ed, one of our longest and biggest supporters, saying hello, everyone. How you doing, Ed? We have our buddy Ryan also saying evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Ryan. Thank you for joining us tonight. And then we do have Ed saying, that's what Ricky Starks looks like. He's a dickhead sleazebag, but the future of AEW is Jungle Boy, Private Party, Hangman, MJF, and Starks. I agree. I think all those guys are the future. They have a lot of good young guys. That
throw Sammy Guevara.
Oh yeah. Sammy Guevara should be on that list. You can throw a lot more than just that handful, but those guys are guys that should be at the top of this company for a long, long time. And like Spencer says, Hangman has to be the guy to take the championship off of Omega, right? I think that is the long-term story. Marco Stunt. Oh, that would be.
After what we saw tonight, I want to see Orange Cassidy.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun, too.
We're going to talk about that.
Oh, we will talk about that, my friend. All right. So next we do get what I thought was a good promo from Varsity Blondes promoting the match tonight with the Young Bucks. I thought Brian Pillman Jr. was really good here. He talks about how the Young Bucks have been mentioning his father lately, and he says that a lot of people think that his father is really the only reason he got a foot into the business, where it really was the exact opposite, and his father is really what kept him away from the business. And the one thing that really got him back interested in wrestling was the Young Bucks and how they were these bright, colorful, happy dudes just wrestling everywhere, putting on great matches. And that really brought the love of wrestling back to him. And then Griff Garrison says that he met the Young Bucks in 2018, and they were two of the nicest guys he ever met. They really made him feel like he was welcome, and that helped him on his journey to get to AEW. And now that he's there in AEW, the Young Bucks are these two jerks, and they're just not the same guys. And tonight they're going to give the Young Bucks the reality check that they need, and they're going to win the AEW Tag Team Championships later on in the night. I thought, we don't see a lot of Varsity Blondes getting promo work and time to talk, and I thought with the time they were given that they did really well. Do any of you have anything to add about this segment of the promo, what you saw or what you liked?
I thought it was a really well done promo. Honestly, I was watching the second part of the Pillman documentary right before AEW, so maybe that's what helped hit it home. But I think Brian Pillman Jr. is on another level right now. Like, I think he's really hitting his stride. The Varsity Blondes look good. I like the addition of is it
Jillian Hart?
Hart. I was gonna say
yes.
Hall, but I know that's definitely wrong.
Yeah.
But is she one of the Hearts?
That I don't know. I would have to look that up. I'm not sure, but
they're fine. Also, they're a really good tag team, and we're going to talk about that match later. And I thought it was really well done. Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman, it works.
I like Brian Pillman Jr. I met him. He was he came to a show. It was the same show that Jeff Jarrett was on for Real Canadian Wrestling. And
nice.
I got to meet him and say hi to him and stuff. That was when he was just training with Storm, though. Like, that guy hasn't been wrestling for a very long time.
No,
so
he just came on.
The fact that he was on the AEW main event tonight,
right,
props
says
to
a
him.
lot.
Because, legit, I think that was maybe 3 years ago. Maybe.
Yeah, so that's not a lot of time. And to get a main event platform on AEW, with only maybe 3 or 4, that's a lot of work that he's put in to get that spot.
Yeah. He was way cooler than Jeff Jarrett, too.
Well, there you go. There you go. Got the inside scoops from the Goose.
He's
got the inside scoops. We then get Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston going in a tag team match against the Acclaimed. I like Moxley and Kingston are amazing, obviously. I feel like a lot of us are digging what they're doing right now, but the Acclaimed I like a lot as well. I thought this match was solid. Apparently, Wild Thing is Moxley's new theme. We were all talking about it last week, but 2 weeks in a row makes me think that that's the theme going forward. So I think that's a nice little touch. Have a song that the crowd will sing and get jacked up for, especially when there's full crowds back and when stuff like that.
And he's doing his thing. He looks like he's into it, man. He had to have probably said, "Hey, can we make this happen?" And Khan was like, "Yep, here you go. You're Jon Moxley. Anything you want."
And then you have the Acclaim come out, Max Caster doing his rap, and he throws a Renee Paquette jab in there where he says, Mox, your girl's been calling me all week looking for some oral sessions.
My favorite was Bowens being like, he just wants to get on the podcast.
He just wants to get on the podcast. Yeah, the Bowens. No, he just wants to get on the podcast. I thought it was great.
Think.
It's a weird name for a podcast, but I do like her podcast.
Oh, her podcast is very good. It's great.
Well, that's a great name for a podcast. I'm disappointed it was taken.
Yeah.
I was going to call Monday Night Raw Oral Sessions, but I didn't think I'd be book any guests.
Oh, no. All right, Goose, I'll go over to you. What did you think of this tag match with Moxley, Kingston, and the Acclaimed?
I liked it. I'm not super familiar with the Acclaimed. This might be the first time I've seen them wrestle, but I thought they were quite good. I thought that it was really nice to see Eddie Kingston up there on the big stage again too. Because I mean, back in the day, I used to be a huge fan of CZW and Chikara and stuff like that, and he was a big part of that back when I was following that very regularly, and so it was nice to see him, and he's definitely still got it. I really liked the match. The only criticism I had was that I didn't really care for the double team finish that Moxley and Kingston used. I thought it looked a little underwhelming compared to some of the other cool shit that was in the match. The Acclaimed guys did a really cool one where they had the guy up in a suplex and one guy came off and did a crossbody.
Splash, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. But the thing where Gaio just wheelbarrowed him and the other guy gave him a DDT, I was like, oh, that looks like the sort of thing that, the Undisputed Era would use for a 2 count in one of their matches or something. It didn't look like the finish of a match.
The finish, yeah. And I think it. I don't know if Mox not messed up, but if he could, because they called it the paradigm shift when they was doing that was just a regular DDT. Like he didn't have the actual full grip of like what the paradigm shift is. So I don't know if maybe that affected the way it looked, but I agree with you. I thought the match had its
maybe Eddie Kingston should have done like sat out with it or something, because it just kind of looked like he picked him up and Mox grabbed him and they drove him down, and Eddie Kingston didn't really do much other than like hold the guy's legs up for a little bit. And like it wasn't even like don't get me wrong, like I mean I'm not like an expert or anything, but like he didn't even like spike him onto the top of his head. They came down in a really nice safe flat face bump, which is, what I like to see, because I don't like to see people get hurt. But I mean, if this is going to be your double team finishing move, it should probably be the most spectacular thing in the match, and it definitely wasn't.
Yeah. All right, John. Anything to say about what Gusha said about the finisher, or just this match in general?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I was watching that, at the end there, and I thought they put it over like it was the greatest thing ever.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not sure. I haven't been watching. Like I said, I didn't catch Raw. It's been a rough week, so I didn't watch Elevation or Dark. And I know Kingston and Mox had wrestled on there to get some of these wins up. So I don't know if they've been trying this on those shows too, or this is the first time I've ever seen that finisher from those guys together.
Yeah, I think it was the first time.
So maybe they were trying something, but to me, it just reminded me of like when Randy Orton drapes the dude's legs on the second rope and drops him. It never wins a match. So the paradigm shift itself looks more deadly than that. So hopefully they'll work those kinks out. Maybe Kingston was supposed to do something, maybe help elevate his legs, and maybe just they held it too long and he dropped it. I don't know. But other than that, I can't ever complain about Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley in a ring together doing their thing, because I think those two play off each other.
Oh yeah,
so
they have been
people that play off better.
And I was only saying that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they've definitely been one of the highlights since they've been together. The last month and a half or so. Like you can tell they're having fun, right? Like this is just probably surreal to them. Like they probably never thought they would maybe have the opportunity to be working together again, or even in this capacity, right? And you can tell they're really enjoying working with each other, and they're just having a lot of fun with what they're doing right now. Our buddy Ed does say
right before that, though. Sorry, where one of the guys had a chain on his hand.
Yes,
and it kind of distracted the ref, so the other guy brought in a boombox.
The boombox, yes.
But then Ambrose took the boombox away from him and got that guy off. And I thought that was going to be the finish.
Who's this Ambrose guy that you speak of?
Finish.
Oh yeah, Ambrose. Yes, the
this
Dean
Ambrose guy. What are you
No.
Sorry.
Old habits die hard, man. Old habits died hard.
I mean, Dean Ambrose looks a lot like Jon Moxley.
They do.
Brothers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
our buddy Ed does say Rick Vaughn greater than Moxley for the Wild Thing theme. I will not disagree with you there. That's the first thing I think about is Wild Thing Rick Vaughn whenever I hear that song from him.
Put glasses on.
Yeah.
I feel bad, but who is Rick Vaughn?
The movie Major League.
You ever see the movie Major League? It's like it's an old comedy about the Cleveland Indians baseball team in like the late 80s, early 90s.
I have seen it many years ago.
Oh yeah, it's an older movie. It's still good. It still holds up. It's still pretty funny.
I will give it another look because I do like some Charlie Sheen.
Yeah,
I'm kind of on a kick right now where I'm watching a lot of movies from the 80s and 90s.
Nice. Yeah, definitely throw that in the rotation. You will not be disappointed. It does hold up relatively well.
Yeah.
We then get
all get canceled because there's some really
some ridiculous joke that's bad now.
Yeah.
So then we do have Alex Marvez out back trying to get some info on Jericho's injured elbow, trying to get some insider, and Jericho's with Dean Malenko. I love seeing the Dean Malenko sighting. Love me some Dean Malenko. And Jericho's like, I'm hurt, but I'll be fine. I'm not giving you any information. Get the hell out of here, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you better get out of here or, don't piss off the man with 1,000 holds. And he points to Malenko and Marvez scatters. And then you just hear Malenko go to Jericho and he goes, hey, you got 4 more than me. And Jericho jokingly says, he goes, I've forgotten a few of them. I thought it was a good callback to, that's one of the famous Jericho. That's really the first, not the first, but one of the early real iconic Jericho moments is that list of the holds. So I love that. I love that little, arm bar.
Hold, arm
bar. Yeah, exactly. So I love that little throwback.
Family Gurdunzel.
Yeah. I thought that was very, very good. Oh, it looks like we might be being joined by somebody else here. We got Mr. Parrish joining us for the second half of this show this evening.
Yeah, I gotta love the shoot life where you don't know if you're going to be on time or not. So that is why I decided to say, Goose, take my spot and run with it.
There you go. We got Ed saying ice for the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. Dean Malenko, Hall of Famer in my book. Iceman, Dean Malenko.
Can I just say the promo with Jericho, he shined tonight.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be talking about that real soon.
He found a way to be crappy to Marvez in a babyface way by kind of putting the heat on Malenko, which I just thought was genius. I was like, because he wants to be crappy to Marvez, and that's been a running joke ever since Dynamite existed. But he's the face now, and he was like, man, how do and he was like, you could tell he's like, how do I do this? All right, yeah, you don't want to piss off Malenko here.
Exactly.
I loved it.
All right, do you guys
think Malenko will ever have one more match?
I don't think so. I think that's past. That's past probably.
He would have already done it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in professional wrestling, anything is possible. But
because he had one of the nobody kind of knew he was really kicking it in. So I've always been suspect that he might.
Yeah, it's
might
possible.
have that last match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we do.
They ever hyped up his final match or anything?
No, nothing like that. It was kind of one of the quieter ones.
It looked like the he would probably have to put in a couple of months of training before he started wrestling.
Yeah, before he knew he was getting back in there.
Looks like he's enjoying retirement.
We then get Tony Schiavone in the ring with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Scorpio Sky kicks it off by saying, when he was younger, he was just like the rest of us, and he loved Sting. He was a little Stinger, huge fan, all this. And then he says, but something happened, and that something was time. And now he's not a little kid anymore, and Sting is past his time, and Sting needs to step aside because it's his time now. And I believe he said, step aside or I will put you down, was the exact verbiage from him. And then Ethan Page grabs the mic and basically calls out Darby Allin, says that Miro did most of the work, obviously, to win the title last week, but some of that fault and some of that blame goes to Ethan Page from the week prior where he threw Darby down the stairs. And he basically says, mark my words, Darby, I'm going to be the nail in your coffin. I had no problem with this. I didn't think it was anything spectacular, but I thought it was good. It was solid. Parrish, you just joined. What were your opinions on this promo for Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky?
Well, first off, I like the duo. Yes, a mug. Well, if we're just gonna hold things up, I mean, why not? I mean, but no, I really like the duo of Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. I think that's Ethan Page's niche is in a tag team, and Scorpio Sky I thought very much needed to break away from SCU. But I like it because I think just like what we were talking about yesterday with NXT and the developing of the tag team scene, I think AEW very much needs to do the same. And the fact that they put a little bit of onus on the tag team, and I wouldn't mind seeing Sting and Darby Allin have a couple tag team matches down the line. So I like it. Allin has been an MVP for AEW in my opinion for the last 6 months.
Yeah, I would agree. Once Ethan Page did make that coffin remark, the lights did go out, and we did see Sting enter, and Darby Allin attacks them from behind. And then, snowing. Yes, it started snowing. It snows whenever Sting arrives. We have snow.
It's
in the middle of Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sting was in my backyard last night.
We then get Sting puts a Scorpion Deathlock on Scorpio Sky, and then as Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky try to flee up the entrance, the Dark Order comes out to block them off, and they end up running away through the crowd. Again, John, anything that stuck out to you that Parrish maybe didn't mention or anything like that? They did announce at Double or Nothing there will be a tag team match. It will be Sting and Darby Allin versus Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and they made it a point to say that it would not be a cinematic match, and it's going to be a real tag match at Double or Nothing. So, John, what do you think about that? Seeing Sting in a real match, not cinematic, and just everything that happened tonight.
Well, you ain't bringing Sting back to lose. I said that back when he had his cinematic match. Like, so they're gonna win, and Sting's gonna do as little work as possible. For me, I don't know. I keep seeing like Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page as two singles guys that I want to see do singles stuff. I think putting them together is a good idea, but I like the way AEW has like all these little cliques where like Sting and Darby aren't really a tag team, but we can make them a tag team, Kingston and Mox. So that's their niche. But I mean, it was a good promo. I don't know why it takes Sting, Darby Allin, and 10 guys in the Dark Order to take out Page and Sky.
It's true.
But,
it's true.
Hey,
it's true.
I mean, it was good for what it was, and I'm excited to see Sting's. They said it was his first in-ring match in 6 years.
Yeah, it'll be something. Yes, I think since that WrestleMania match with
what do you guys?
Rollins,
yeah.
I mean, I'm here for it. Let's make it happen.
I think it was a Night of Champions.
Night of Champions with Rollins. Yeah, that was the one.
What do you guys think is the end game for the Dark Order? Like, are they going to have a new leader? Like, because I think Darby Allin makes the most sense.
I mean,
I just want to know what you guys think.
He would fit right in, obviously, and I do think that would be very sensible to do.
They'd have to get away from the comedy gimmick with Darby.
Exactly. I think that would need to be a shift. There would need to be a shift there.
And it's hard, like, because everybody loves them right now, and I don't want to say it's the Brody Lee effect, but I think like it's going to be hard when you get live crowds that aren't the paid attendance that they have, like to not boo the Dark Order, especially doing the Johnny Hungy thing and all that. There'd have to be like a major shift within the order. Some guys would have to break away for Darby to step in, because I don't know anything about Darby Allin outside of AEW, but I don't think his comedic chops are there, because that's not how they're portraying him. And I don't see Sting doing it, and I don't think Hangman Page should do it. I think they should just kind of keep him on the ends, but not fully in, because I think that works for them. Because again, if you make the Dark Order, I'm not sure what you do with them. We do have some comments in the chat about this topic. Our buddy Ed says this will be a great match, but maybe it's just me. I don't really want to see Sting in an actual match. But Sky and Page are fantastic together. And then when we started talking about the Dark Order, we had Ed say either Page or Silver leads the Dark Order, and then Spencer said Silver and Reynolds as co-leaders of the Dark Order. I love John Silver.
I don't know if I like a co-leader idea. I think having a set leader does more than a co-leader.
If
John Silver makes a lot of sense, though, too.
But if he's the leader, who is he going to love and who is he going to fawn over?
It's true. Yeah, they're all going to.
John Silver's money is like Mr. Brody Lee.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how are you? Oh, you're so great. Yeah.
Anna Jay, like that's his thing. I don't know.
Yeah. But, I think it's another story that they're telling that we're just going to have to wait and see until what happens. Oh, and then we have Stina Bauer, John. Calling you out. Take your shirt off.
It's not that kind of stream, dude. Gotta join the Love Wrestling OnlyFans for that.
Yeah, we're not playing streaming here.
Then we have
maybe if you start dropping some tips there in the Twitter,
subscribe on that Twitch. Get on that Twitch. Start throwing us some bills.
Honey, I'll see you in a little bit.
We then get Spencer asking, what about a re-debut of Anna Jay when she's back healthy as the leader? I'd be in on that. I'd be okay with that for sure.
John, just make sure she's not asking anybody else in here to take their shirt off. Then I think there might be something to worry about.
All right. We then get the Pinnacle.
Because I guarantee you all four of us have a good set of boobies. Just going to point that out.
We then get the Pinnacle. This is going off the rails. It's going off the rails.
You're welcome.
Keep your composure, gentlemen. Keep your composure.
Oh, what composure?
We then get the pinnacle. Jeez Louise. God. We then get the pinnacle at dinner. MJF pissed off. When isn't he? When isn't he bothered by something? But we get MJF and the pinnacle at dinner. I thought Dax was the star of this promo to me. But MJF is always great, but he was talking about how Jericho, thinks he's a funny guy with all those little jerk off comments and all these things. And he goes, Jericho, you've never met or you've never had to deal with someone in your whole career like me who always gets the last word and who always gets the last laugh. And then Dax took over and he starts talking about how they should be done with the Inner Circle and they're wasting their time, and what a group of this caliber, which is the best group in professional wrestling, should be doing is taking every title that AEW has to offer. And they can't because they're still dealing with Jericho and still dealing with the Inner Circle. I thought his passion, and you could just tell how, I just thought he was great in this promo. Goose, what did you think of this segment with the Pinnacle talking about the Stadium Stampede match with the Inner Circle?
Well, one of the things I've noticed with all the promos on the show tonight, I really like it because it doesn't come across to me as though, like, earlier in the afternoon, somebody walked up to MJF and handed him a couple sheets of paper and was like, here's your lines for the promo tonight, right? Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he had to memorize this. He's just being MJF, cutting his promo in the allotted time that he has, and the same with the bald fella from the FTR.
Dax. Yeah, Dax.
Yeah. He did a really great promo, and I was like, why didn't the WWE ever give this guy like some time on the microphone? Because he's clearly got the chops.
Oh yeah.
Then the other thing that popped to me was that Homeboy was just chugging the bottle of wine.
Oh, Wardlow. Yeah, Wardlow to start it, just chugging the whole bottle of wine.
I was paying close attention to like what they were eating, and I was like, okay, noted. Bread, lots of steak, and a bunch of wine. There's
having themselves a fancy
meals,
steak dinner. Sean Spears, I thought, was a nice touch where the waiter, the server is refilling the wine. And Sean Spears thinks he's taking a little too long to get to him, so he just slams his head on the table, and he looks like he's going to break the wine bottle over his head. And then Tully throws him the wad of cash, and he goes, "Sorry about that. That should make up for it." Like they're a bunch of, Goodfellas, Godfather gangsters sitting at the table. I thought it was quick.
The part where they turned to the other family in the restaurant, and he was like, "Hey, how much for your wife? How much for the little girl? Your children? I want to buy your." That was really great.
Oh no, John, anything to add about this segment that you liked?
Oh, it was a good segment. Like you guys alluded to, MJF did his thing. Dax killed it. Sean Spears. I think this is one of those things that you have to watch back a couple times to kind of pick out some of the little things that you might have missed. And my only thing was I want to see the outtakes.
Yeah. I bet they had some fun.
I bet those dudes had some fun with this segment. So it was a good, fun-hearted, loving, not fun-hearted, loving segment because it was a heel segment, but it was lighthearted and
for a wrestling segment that had a lot of food, like nothing ended up being thrown on it.
Yeah, no food fights, or no. It was a rather clean segment,
Well, I mean, he did throw the wine bottle and smash.
He did, yes, he did slam the wine bottle, so there was a little bit of that. But
if it was empty, it's okay.
I think it was empty.
Wine, okay, then that's okay. He was just trying to hit the trash. Yeah, that's fine. As long as it's empty. You can't waste good alcohol. That's a party foul. The one thing I do like, I like the fact that Dax actually mentioned that they should be going after the titles. He put onus on the championships. Joe, we talked about this at Backlash, and Goose, we talked about this on Monday. I love it when the onus is in the titles of a company, because it just makes those championships seem important, especially for FTR, who I thought got the short end of a stick. Mm-hmm. Or do you mean that one? Because I did plural championships. But it's not putting you over, so behave. But with that being said, it makes them like I thought the FTR always got the short end of the stick against the Young Bucks. I always thought this was the dream match that just became a spinoff just to put the titles on the Young Bucks. And I really thought that was cheesy, that was stupid, and I just like it's typical elite guys putting themselves over when they can. At me on that one, whatever. But look who's champion right now.
True.
But with that being said, it's like you could have done so much more with this. I think FTR has so much to get. Goose, you mentioned why they didn't do it in WWE. It's because two things. Vince doesn't really like tag teams, and, well, the last 10 years, name a tag team other than the New Day that actually did anything in WWE. You can't because Vince likes unicorns better than tag team wrestling, apparently.
Yeah.
But with
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the only other one would be the Usos. Like those would be the two, And it's true. Like when you see other promotions and how they treat tag team wrestling, and we're starting to see a little bit even within their own company on a different promotion like NXT. But when there's tag team wrestling can be special, and there's been a long time in the main roster of WWE where it's clear Vince is just not a priority to him. So when you see tag team divisions like AEW and like how they're forming in NXT, it gives you hope that we'll start to see. Because I know when I first started watching wrestling, tag teams were a big deal, and it'd be nice to see that happening again, kind of everywhere.
When this Stadium Series match Stadium Stampede match is all finished up, I would like to see the Pinnacle guys take shots or put the championships all on notice. Like, I'd like to see Sean Spears go after the Miros or, put Miro on notice. I'd like to see MJF and Kenny Omega at some point. Actually, I'd like to see MJF and Don Callis go at it. That would be very entertaining. I like the fact that even though there's heel, the fact that these heels can't trust another heel necessarily, like the fact that there's a group there and they trust each other, they shouldn't have to trust other ones. I think that's a chaos that's really intriguing in wrestling companies, and I would love to see the Pinnacle make titles a priority after dealing with the Inner Circle.
Yeah. All right, then we continue. We do get Hikaru Shida versus Rebel. This was basically a glorified squash match a little bit. Britt Baker was at ringside. She does get involved, which allows Rebel to use a crutch to use a crutch to get a little bit of advantage over Shida. But this match was quick. And then after the match, the real story was Britt Baker gets in the ring, attacks Shida, lays her out. She gives her a curb stomp onto the AEW Women's Championship and then stands tall in the ring holding up the belt, which I think will be the precursor for her winning that belt at Double or Nothing next week. It progressed the storyline, but again, real quick match. I don't know if any of you have anything to add when it comes to this match. It was simple, effective, get Baker standing tall, Shida looking, getting her butt kicked a little bit, kind of looking like she'll have to get some redemption and to retain her title from Britt Baker. Go ahead.
Does anybody think Britt Baker's not walking out new champion, though?
No, at least I don't. I think it's
this
much
is
of a sure bet. Oh, yeah.
I don't see a lot of good foreshadow in wrestling. I thought this was a good foreshadow.
Yeah, I think that is the match that I would bet the house on. I think that's like the.
I think Britt Baker is probably a much more effective promo and character than Hikaru Shida. Don't get me wrong, Hikaru Shida is like badass in the ring and stuff, but like I don't know how good her English is or that kind of stuff. But like Britt Baker, like you just watch her and you're like, I don't like this girl because she's full of herself,
Yeah,
she gets into you and like inspires.
Can you put Ed? Sorry to cut you off, Goose, but that comment by Ed, I have a good comparison. If Britt Baker doesn't win the title, she becomes the Dolph Ziggler of AEW.
It's possible,
and I say this because you got to know when to pull the trigger on someone. And the one thing that I don't think they talk enough about in AEW is that Britt Baker is the first woman signed to the company. That is a big thing to a new company, especially if you want to make this women division bigger. That's something I would love to hear more coming out of her mouth. I think that's a big thing. But like, Britt Baker's time is right now.
They steered away from that because, in all honesty, Britt Baker at the beginning wasn't a number one overall. You know what I mean?
Sure, but now it matters.
Now it matters. Yeah, so I think maybe they'll get back to that, but they kind of steered away. The only thing I'm going to add is, like I said, she's firing all cylinders right now. I'm not sure why they didn't pull the trigger on it the last time they had an opportunity to pull the trigger on it. Maybe she wasn't fully healthy and ready to go, but I think now's the time. Let's enter the Britt Baker era going forward. The summer of Britt, I think you can have a lot of fun with that, with live crowds, do a lot of things. So that's all I got there. I'm pro Britt Baker, 100%.
Oh, yeah. We then get Kenny Omega and Don Callis. We get footage from last week after the Orange Cassidy got injured in that match with Pac. And we see Kenny Omega, and he's using the EVP. I'm an EVP. I got to talk to my talent. I'm an EVP. Hey, he's using that, and he gets in there, and he sits down with Orange Cassidy, him and Callis, and he says, "Hey, like, he goes, I'm not just, the champion here. Like, I'm an EVP. Like, I care about this company, and we value you. Like, we love you. We love you being here. We value you. We want you to be the mascot of AEW. We don't need you to be the main eventer. We really want you to be that mascot character that everyone just loves to see and all this stuff." And Callis presents Orange Cassidy with a contract to sign that would remove him from the triple threat match at Double or Nothing. Orange Cassidy rips it up. And then this is these things that AEW does, these small little quick effective things. I thought it was great. I thought Omega was funny. I thought Omega hit his points. Orange Cassidy, you could tell he didn't say a word because he hardly ever does, but he was pissed and effective. Goose, what did you think about this little segment with Omega and Orange Cassidy here?
Again, just after watching Raw on Monday, this was really refreshing because like I say again, it didn't seem like the sort of thing where, somebody handed Kenny Omega a script and was like, okay, memorize your lines for later on tonight. It all came across really naturally. And I love the fact that Don Callis was like adjusting the bag of ice.
The ice pack. Yeah, the ice packs on Orange Cassidy the whole time. We're here for you, man. We're here for you. John.
The guy that was just standing in the background with a scowl on his face. I was like, "What's that guy's story?"
Like, good with you. I'm good with you. I dug the promo work. I thought it was a good. I must have looked away or something because at first I was like, "Did Orange Cassidy get jumped tonight?" So I was like, "Oh, it's last week's stuff." I loved the paper tear.
Oh it was like the super slow.
Yep, those that are watching that have kids and have seen Zootopia, the DMV scene with the sloth and he's tearing that thing off the printer.
Yeah.
Like, just stood there and I was like, that is genius because that's Orange Cassidy, right? He can hit that high gear and get pissed off when he hits that level. He's not there yet because he knows in his mind, I've got Omega right where I want him. He's trying to get me out of this match. So when we get to Double or Nothing, man, he's gonna show out and he's gonna hit that gear that we seen him with Jericho, and I can't wait to see it. But right now he's playing it perfect.
Oh yeah,
he's letting Omega do all the talking, run his mouth. He ain't gonna win, but
sadly, but that match is gonna be very, very good. Parrish, what did you think to round it out about this segment with Omega and Orange Cassidy?
It was a great promo. This is where I'm going to nitpick just a tad. I said earlier, I kind of took a shot on the egos of the Elite. The best part of when Vince McMahon was on commentary back in the day, up until the Stone Cold time, was you never knew that he was the guy who ran everything in the company, and it actually made him a better character out of it. I don't understand the whole I'm an EVP thing. Like, yes, but come on, like that's such a lazy attempt of getting heat, in my opinion, is that you have to bring out the realism just to get a little bit of a stroke on edge. Like you're a triple champion. Like you have to resort to the political part, like, I don't know.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was used in a comedy form in this one, so I thought that's why I dug it. And like,
sorry, but that's why I don't. It's like, does Kenny Omega need to do comedy? I get that comes with the territory with Orange Cassidy. Don't get me wrong, and I understand what they were doing with it, but I just don't understand why a triple champion has to resort to the power when he's like, I have 3 belts. I have 3 championships.
Yeah.
I think the angle they were playing was he wasn't allowed back there because Orange Cassidy was dealing with the doctors, right? So then when he throws out, well, hey, I'm an EVP, like this is my talent. I need to go see. I think that's kind of where it was coming in there. Yeah, like they were like, you can't be back here, man. This is the doctor's room. You can't be back here. And then he's like, I'm an EVP. I'm an EVP here. Like I got to talk to my talent here. Like I thought that it didn't stick out to me. At least that part of it, for me at least.
And I think kind of a slippery slope before we see.
I just think it's a tad bit of a cop out.
And I think there's been times where they've done it wrong. Like I remember Cody coming out of the back one time with like his headphones still on, like, or the headset still on and things like that. Sometimes like that, I'm like, we get it. You know what I mean? Like we get it. But this one in particular, at least that didn't stick out to me like as anything. I laughed when he said it, you know,
on a really good segment. And that's where it's like, okay, it was still a really good segment. Like you said, John, like the tearing was the best part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, amazing.
In storyline sense, if Omega goes back there as just wrestler Omega, the best friends in Statlander kick his ass. He pulls the EVP card, like you can't touch me, and then hey doctor, I need to know this information because he's my talent on my roster.
Yeah, we get Ed. We have Ed in the comments saying, like, I get that Cassidy is over, but it's just so tough to have the best in the world trying to play comedy with Cassidy instead of being serious. So, I mean, it all depends on what you like. Like, I think Omega can do both. I think Omega can be that because we all know he's a really, like, nerdy, quirky guy, right? So, like, I think he can play off that kind of nerdy comedy part well, and then he gets serious when he gets into like psycho mode and he thinks everyone's against him and all stuff like that. I think he plays it well. But I think what you said, Parrish, is like, he's dealing with Orange Cassidy. Like that, when you're dealing with Orange Cassidy, you're going to be dealing in that realm because that's what Orange Cassidy is, So.
True. But the one thing I do want to kind of point in, as a champion, I don't think you should devalue anybody else. You should assume that you're going to always win. You should kind of have that let down, but it shouldn't be so strong to where it can look like from an audience thing that's like, oh, okay, well, and now I know he's not going to win. Like you do want to have that little bit of a hope that even though it's that Dumb and Dumber, so you're telling me there's a chance, at least let me have that. And I think that's where it's like, okay, so you're a triple champion. You have this power. Okay, so why are you facing 2 guys? Okay, like it's if you have the power, like shouldn't this be like it's one of those things where I think you could have just done it with the whole I'm a triple champion. That's why I have the stroke. You didn't have to play the whole I run this shit too. Like I think that's a little overkill on the power card.
I mean, Parrish is the only champion on the panel, so we got to take his word for it.
That is true.
That has nothing to do with it.
I was just putting you over, man.
We're just trying to put you over, bro. Yeah, just let us put you over, man.
All right, my arm's red enough. Don't make my face get that red.
We then get the Inner Circle in the ring. Going to give us the answer of whether they'll be accepting the Stadium Stampede match or not. I thought this was another home run for the Inner Circle. Ortiz starts it. He says that he's ready to fight. Guevara then grabs the mic and he says, he's sick and tired of the Pinnacle, but if one more fight is what they need to do, then one more fight is what they're going to do, and they're not afraid of the Stadium Stampede. Jake Hager calls the Pinnacle a bunch of schoolyard bitches. That was the quote there, which I was like, all right, yeah, rock and roll. And then Jericho grabs the mic and he prefaces his promo around the fact of, is it worth it? That's what he says. He goes, Blood and Guts is one of those matches where it shaves years off your career, it shaves years off your life. He goes, he's been doing this a long time, and there's been times through his career where he's asked himself, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And Blood and Guts was one of those times. And then all in unison, Jericho, as he's getting to the culmination of this promo, he says, are we going to accept the Stadium Stampede match? And all of them say yes. So we get the Stadium Stampede match at Double or Nothing between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. If the Inner Circle loses, they will need to break up. Since next week, I believe we're getting back to the original format of the War Report. I will ask you gentlemen here, since I have you, who do you think's winning the Stadium Stampede? And do you think the Inner Circle will be forced to disband? I will start with John.
Yeah, I think you got to go. I think you got to pull the trigger on the Pinnacle here. I know the Stadium Stampede, I guess, if we were to call it, is the Inner Circle's match because they were in the first one. But I think you got to ride this Pinnacle thing out. And I think just from tonight's promo alone, Jericho not leading off, letting Ortiz go first, and then Sammy. I thought Sammy looked like a star in that. That promo.
Oh yeah.
And I think the way Jericho kind of stayed back and let those dudes talk, you can tell he's been working with them. So I think that they're ready to maybe do some other things. And I think that was the brilliance of Jericho in that promo too, was he was like, I'm going to let these guys shine first, come in, take it home. We'll knock this match out in a couple weeks. And I think we're going to see some new stuff coming because you can't break this Pinnacle thing up now.
No way.
It'd all be for now. I mean, they didn't put that stipulation on theirs, right?
No, it's only if the Inner Circle loses, they need to break up.
It's the why put them together, have this big match for them to just lose, and then you basically 50-50'd the Pinnacle Inner Circle thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going Pinnacle.
Parrish, what say you?
Okay, I'm gonna ask two questions. How many matches have the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle have?
Only like how many as the full groups, only one.
Okay, and it's won by the Pinnacle, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I can see this going two ways. I can see Inner Circle winning, and the only next thing is to do All or Nothing, Double or Nothing, where it's like, okay, we did a match where we did it. Now you guys got to do one, and it's maybe team versus team. Whoever loses has to break up, and you just up it. It's like it's a must. It's not just so I can see that, or I see Inner Circle losing, breaking up. I can see with all this COVID thing in the U.S., and I specify U.S. because Canada's falling behind. It's opening up there. Jericho might be going on tour with Fozzy. We always have to think that could be a thing going on. And maybe he might take a little bit of time off. Therefore, it explains why he's allowing, or like the attempt was to have so many other guys look and take the part of a star like Santino Ortiz or Sammy Guevara, who I believe should be going after a championship right now.
Mm-hmm. Guevara is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. So I think the end game Inner Circle breaks up. But I do think it all depends on when Jericho is going to take time off with Fozzy, because I think that's why it'll break up, on top of the fact that he now has made Jake Hager known to the audience. Santino Ortiz are a top tag team. Sammy Guevara is a new star now. He's elevated everyone in this group. So really the whole point of the Inner Circle has been completed. So I do think now it's time to kind of move on. And I would love to see a Dark Order versus Pinnacle. I'm calling it right now.
That'd be cool.
That's something I'd like to see.
Yeah. What about you, Goose? What do you think who will win that Stadium Stampede in a couple weeks?
I think that the Pinnacle is also going to win. I feel like there should be like a swerve in there at some point where one of the Inner Circle guys turns on them and joins the Pinnacle. Maybe even Jericho, which sounds weird because he's the one that got thrown off, but maybe he could blame the other guys, be like, none of you guys were watching my back for this. Like, you guys are a bunch of chumps. I'm now with the best group on AEW because I'm the best guy here. And maybe him and MJF just hug it out, and that's where we go with it. The whole thing, I can see something like that going down, or Guevara too, like because you could then have like Sammy Guevara turns and is like
he has quit before.
Yes,
yeah,
He has quit on the group.
I bet he looks good in a suit. Just throwing that out
Oh.
there.
Yeah.
I bet he looks like $1 million in a suit.
Our buddy Ed says Pinnacle needs this, and then hopefully XLAX get back to the tag title scene. And then he also says if anyone turns, it should be Sammy. I would not be opposed to that. I think Sammy Guevara.
I could see Hager versus Jericho. That's a good feud too.
Yeah, I think Sammy Guevara is a future multi-time champion, top of the card, like a star that they have under them for a long, long time. We then get the NWA Women's Championship match between Serena Deeb and Red Velvet. I thought this match was pretty solid. Serena Deeb is very good. Red Velvet is good too, but Serena Deeb is very good. I will start off with John on this one. What did you think of this match and the outcome? Serena Deeb retained the title. Yeah.
Good match. Serena Deeb could have a good match with a broomstick. I think Red Velvet is 1,000% a future women's champ in this division. She looks good. She can hold her own in the ring. And I know everybody likes to talk about Jade Cargill. I know I'm one of them too, but I think Red Velvet's got a big future. It was a good match. It was a lot well done. I still don't understand the whole NWA Women's Championship thing being a part of it, because their match, the NWA Women's Championship matches are some of the best women matches in AEW short history, and so I'm interested to see where that goes. But it was a good match overall. I got nothing more after that.
Yeah. Any Goose or Parrish? Anybody else need to add anything when it comes to what they saw or what they liked with this match tonight?
Goose, go ahead.
I mean, I don't really have much to add. Like you say, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. I'm not super familiar with either girl. I believe Serena Deeb was in the WWE for a while. Like,
Straight Edge Society.
Straight Edge Society with CM Punk. Yep.
Yeah, she looks better with hair. Red Velvet, I don't think I've seen before, but she was impressive too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like girls that have hair.
Deeb Deeb's one of those two that has like a good match with anybody. It makes all these women look really good and are building blocks for the future. Like she's like a player coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
can see her having a great match if they brought in like Mickie James or somebody like that. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, and then that's kind of what I was gonna suggest. Is I think Mickie James might actually sign with NWA. Obvious reasons we can put aside, but what if there was ever I don't want to say necessarily unification or a title versus title possible match between the NWA Women's Champion and AEW Women's Champion? I think at some point, if you're going to have all these matches on the same card, I mean, there's going to be that scenario that pops up and I can see Britt Baker possibly being that catalyst, because what if we see Britt Baker against Serena Deeb at some point?
Good. I mean, especially like, I know NWA has their own thing with power and all that stuff, but the way that's been going lately, like, you don't know how long, it might be one of those things where like there clearly already is a business arrangement between them, the two companies, but maybe it's one of those things where if things don't get better from that standpoint, that AEW kind of absorbs or, takes on all of NWA, right? At the first, it wasn't AEW yet, but at All In, one of the main matches of the card was for the NWA World Championship. So like it's been part of the AEW fabric since the beginning, really, like the NWA part of it too. So it's definitely something that could grow into something bigger and continue going on. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't, And
we can't forget that the name that's always popping up right now for free agents with women is Tessa Blanchard. and there's been heavy rumors that she could be AEW bound. There's rumors really going all over the place. But with that being said, like Tessa Blanchard could be a catalyst for, like, she's been an Impact champion. She could go AEW. Like, this is a name too. Like, the Blanchard name now is regenerated in pro wrestling, and it's because of her. Good or bad, it's still in the headlines. And I believe that this is a name that could help bring some attention back to that AEW women's title scene, along with maybe Britt Baker being the new champion as well.
Yeah. All right. We then move forward. We get Austin Gunn versus Anthony Ogogo. This was everything I thought it was. At first, Austin Gunn does come right out the chute with a nice drop kick and gets some offense to start. But he is met with one of the stomach or liver punches of Anthony Ogogo. And then he hits him with the second one. And on the second one, Austin Gunn starts bleeding from the mouth. He spits some blood in Ogogo's face a little bit. And then Ogogo did almost like a pop-up punch to the face type of. He did the little push-up and then boom, right across the face, knocked Gunn unconscious. Ref stopped the fight. Cody, who was ringside with Arn Anderson, slides in the ring to check in on Gunn. Ogogo, who was carrying the British flag, goes over and grabs the American flag, which Cody had in tow because, you know, he is the American dream. And he's changing it to the dream for the fight. And
oh my God.
Yeah, he's the American dream until Double or Nothing is over.
Baby.
He's the American dream.
It'd be awesome if he comes out common man.
It'd be awesome if he comes out wearing polka dots. That's damn it what I want. But anyway, so Ogogo grabs the American flag, and it looked like he was going to do something heelish or to desecrate it of some sort. And then Cody kind of stands up to him, and then he just ends up throwing the flag like towards Arn kind of aggressively. And that was that. And they leave, and it just, I thought it made Ogogo look strong as hell. They really putting over that punch to the liver or stomach. They make that look like it's end game.
Well, a liver punch is pretty much end game.
End game, yes.
If you get punched in the liver, you're done.
Yeah, your body's shutting down. So they've made that look great. We talked about it last week. Not a huge fan of the I'm Mr. America promo from Cody and just that angle. Like, I don't think Ogogo, up until now, where they realized, like, oh, Cody did a really pro-American promo, so we need to make him really make fun of America now. He never came across as the foreign heel to me. He just was you know what I mean? Like, he never, I don't know. It was bizarre. It seems like they're like overdoing the anti-America thing on Ogogo's end now because of the promo that Cody cut. Because before that, it didn't seem like that was the route that they were going when it came to this feud. But regardless, when it comes to Double or Nothing, do you guys think Ogogo's going to win? Like, you think Cody's putting him over? Or you think they have a really good match and he looks good in defeat? I will start with Parrish on that.
I think Cody puts him over. I think Cody right now, under the AEW banner, is untouchable in the sense he can lose, but what he does will always signify what's the right word? Just like he's always going to signify a presence where it doesn't matter. He has the pedigree he's a star in AEW regardless of what he does. He got beat by Luke Harper, rest his soul, easily.
Brody Lee.
It's always Harper to me. Always Harper to me. But that did nothing for how people perceive Cody Rhodes. If anything, that just made the TNT title look amazing. Exactly. And I'd actually rather him call himself bulletproof than the American Dream. I mean, I get that's your father. I get that whole idea, but man, just be you once in a while too. Like, try. Like American Nightmare was cool. That's a cool nickname. I mean,
well, he said
I'd
it's
love
only
to be the
for. He
Canadian
said it's
Nightmare.
only. Yeah, he said it's only for one night, so I think.
But then again, Trudeau's the Canadian Nightmare.
Yeah, I just think it was. again, with this angle of America versus Britain, I think it was
Yeah.
just another, a way to do that. Goose, what did you think of a
I'm gonna
go-go
go
here?
with a go-go because you know what? Union Jack, that's more Canada than the States, and it's always fun to kind of ruffle the American feathers as a Canadian.
I mean, hey, you're not
I was
ruffling my feathers,
wondering
trust me.
who a go-go was. Like, I don't know if I've seen him before. I think I saw him on one of the previous weeks of AEW I watched, and he draped Cody in the flag. But before
Yes.
that, I'd never heard of him. Can you give me a little bit of background on him?
Yeah, he's British. He's an Olympic boxer. And I believe he's what, 7? One of his eyes is like 80% blind or something, so he had to retire from boxing because of it. But he was an Olympic boxer, and he has been working with the Nightmare Family for a while, and like in their version of the Wrestling Academy or whatever it is. And he's with QT Marshall and his group as one of his like muscle.
Because has he wrestled before? Like, is he like from the British independent wrestling scene, or
I don't believe so.
He's just fresh from boxing.
I think so. I think he's one of those that they he didn't start wrestling. I don't think. I'm not 100% positive. I'm not really in the know of the British wrestling scene, but I think he was one of the ones that they just signed to start wrestling, and he kind of has started
like a
with them.
Homegrown AEW guy.
I think so. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, and I do agree with Parrish. I do think love wrestling. I do agree with Parrish. I do think Cody will put him over at Double or Nothing. I think that's the way you got to play it. John, what about you? What do you think about the outcome of this match at Double or Nothing between a Go-Go and Cody?
Parrish going off that championship.
I just one-upping Goose.
It's one of those things. I mean, Cody putting over Ogogo makes sense. Make it happen. My only question for this match, and the only thing I'm looking forward to, is how many liver shots is Cody taking? Because Austin Gunn took 2, and they've shown us up until tonight that it only takes 1, and the ref stops the match.
Yeah,
the match is on Dark and did a jobber spot, I think, on AEW. So, yeah, I want to know over-under how many liver shots is Cody going to take to kick out of and all this fun stuff. So, it's probably going to be like 5.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll take a fair amount of a beatdown for Cody to actually stay down.
And Cody's going to bleed.
I do want to add one thing. This is how you bring that realism of a boxing, MMA, and bring it into wrestling. I've always been someone who says I hate the constant needing to do MMA wrestling crossover. But this is how you actually bring in those things. And it's a refreshing way to do a match where it's a stoppage based on like an injury kind of a thing. Because if anybody knows the name Boss Rutan, you know the liver kick is a real thing. Liver kicks suck. Lesnar lost out of liver kicks from Overeem. They're the worst. So I think this Ogogo guy can actually be pretty cool. I'd like to see him in Bloodsport, but with his eye injury, maybe not. But
yeah.
With that being said, him and Moxley could be a lot of fun to watch too.
The only thing I would have maybe done to add a little more heat to this upcoming match, because they're trying to put a lot of heat on him, is when Austin Gunn took the first liver punch and he had the ref stop him from calling it. I would have had a Go-Go pick his hand up and be like, nope, he's one more. He's not done.
Yeah.
Where was Billy Gunn? Like, why didn't Billy Gunn hit the ring and be like, hey, you're going to punch my kid in the liver? Or I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah, it's true.
Austin's a man. He can do this himself. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm busy. I'm over here.
Billy's probably producing the match.
It's true. Yeah, he probably was. He probably was. We then get another short and sweet. This is, we say it all the time, things that AEW is good at. Promo from Kazarian. And he's in the back and he talks about how last week something special was taken from him as him and Daniels lost that match. So their tag team is over. And he says that he's going to hunt down every single member of the Elite and he's going to make them know what it's like to experience loss because something was taken from him. And he says he will get his revenge. And he says that is the gospel of Frankie Kazarian. I think he's almost an underrated talker. He can cut a really good promo, and he's really good in the ring. He's just a really good performer and a really good wrestler. I'm interested to see where they go and what level they kind of keep him at as a singles guy, like if he's mid card or if he'll flirt with the top of the card, because he definitely can put on a great match every time he's in there. I have nothing more to add about this particular promo. I'll leave it to any of you three if you want to hop in just about Kazarian or what he said, but I thought this was standard.
In what they're doing with Christopher Daniels, like,
yeah,
piece that he's retiring. And
that's the rumor. He hasn't said it yet, but that's what everyone is thinking, that match last week might have really been it for him. So
maybe he should lead the Dark Order.
He was going to be the greater power, right? With he has a background in that type of stuff. So
the one thing I do like is that they actually broke up the SCU at the right time. And they did it all the right way too. And I think the fact that they're making Scorpio Sky a bigger deal coming out of it is a good thing. They're making Frankie Kazarian more of, I would like to see him more of like an outlaw kind of a, I think that just fits for him right now. And I think it'd be, remember when AJ Styles was kind of like by himself and Bully Ray was trying to bring him in the aces and eights and he just kind of beat to his own drum? That's, I think, what Frankie Kazarian should be. Or maybe like what Sting was back in WCW that made him really cool. But I think now, like, you kind of see where I'm going with. But the fact that this was kind of taken to the expense of Christopher Daniels, who kind of like went out helping his fellow men in SCU, I just think was really poetic and very honorable. I think Christopher Daniels, if AEW ever does a Hall of Fame, should be the very first inductee.
I think that would be fitting. He has wrestled for a long, long time. Very, very long time.
Actually, you know what? WWE, do the right thing and put him in your Hall of Fame.
I mean, hey, I would not be opposed to WWE kind of turning their Hall of Fame like they did it with Jushin Thunder Liger this year. Like he did not have a ton of WWE matches in his career.
One match,
but
didn't he?
One match against Tyler Breeze. Yeah. But he was such and I'm not saying that Daniels is on that level, but you know what I mean. Like it was an outside guy, but he was such an important figure to professional wrestling that they were like, oh no, this guy's going in our Hall of Fame too because he's
one of those generational guys that has gone through a lot of different types of performers. Whether you want to say AJ Styles or even you go in the 90s and there's Steve Austin and things like that. Like he's wrestled all those guys. He's been there longer than Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Take that for what it's worth. And Jericho's been around.
Yeah.
Man, that guy's just he's a Hall of Fame talent.
Oh yeah.
Pure and simple.
I'm trying to feel bad that he didn't actually get a WWE run, especially like while WWE still had Joe and AJ, because like who wouldn't want to see like a WWE version of their big triple threat like extravaganza, right?
Oh yeah, that's considered the greatest TNA match or Impact, whatever you want to call it. That's considered one of, if not the greatest match in the history of that company.
One might say they had total nonstop action in that match.
I see what you did there. You're a clever one.
They made an impact, that's for sure.
Yeah. We then get Miro. We get a Miro promo. He comes down. He talks about how he thanks Jesus Christ for keeping him safe.
Fantastic.
I laugh my ass off.
I thank Jesus Christ for giving me the ability to destroy.
I thank Jesus Christ for keeping me safe. I thank Jesus Christ for making me so strong and allowing me to destroy everybody that I face. I thought that was hilarious. And then I did like how he said, now everybody knows that when I say I want something, it's over. It's done. It's happening. He says next week, which next week Dynamite is on a Friday. So it's a delayed episode of Dynamite because they're doing the big weekend with Double or Nothing. He says he will have an open challenge and he'll defend his title next Friday on Dynamite, which we later find out is against Dwayne Martin. Is it Martin? One of the
Dante Martin.
Dante Martin. I'm sorry. Damn it. Oh, my bad.
All those brothers look alike, right?
Damn it. Same last name, brothers. Come on. Dang. Go start with the letter D. What am I supposed to, But and then he's interrupted by Lance Archer. And Lance Archer comes out and he says at Double or Nothing, he's gonna put Miro in his place and he's gonna win the title. And then I did like how Miro's like, oh, you come out here and you always say you want to destroy people and blah, 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 but yet you have this old man holding you back all the time. And he looks at Jake the Snake and he goes, you come near me, there'll be no form of yoga that's going to save your life this time, all right? And he says, I thought it was just funny. And even Jake was like, he liked it. He's clapping and laughing like, oh, good one, Miro. But
and
yeah,
then
I
he
thought.
did proceed to hold the guy back.
Yes, exactly. And then he held back Lance Archer so they wouldn't fight. I expect this match at Double or Nothing to be these two large men just beating the shit out of each other for that title. I think it'll be excellent. I think Miro will obviously retain. That would be my pick there. He just won the thing. But Lance Archer, they showcase him like he's near the top of the mid card, but I can't remember one significant match that he's won, which I think at some point you need to win significant matches, right? And when you think about Double or Nothing, it's another title. Like he's already fought for the TNT title before and lost. He's fought for the AEW heavyweight title before and lost. Now he's going for the TNT title again, and if he loses again, you could. We were talking about Britt Baker earlier, right? How she kind of needs to win the title because she's had a shot before. I think this is a very similar scenario. Yep. Now Lance Archer is not as red hot as Britt Baker is. Like Britt Baker is like, over the last 8 months, year, like she's become maybe the top woman in wrestling with her performances, but like. It's a similar scenario to me. Like eventually he needs to win a big match. I don't want Miro to lose so quickly after getting his moment either, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like at some point he's going to have to win. Our buddy Ed does say, I agree, Joe, but wasn't that Miro until last week? And it was, yeah. And I think for all the good things that AEW does when it comes to building young talent and building storylines and long-term storylines, this is kind of an area where they struggle a tad, where you have a lot of people floating around that are like, oh, this is they treat this person like a big deal, but yet this big deal doesn't win any big deal matches. And it's just kind of, all right, well, now when do we have to stop caring about them because we know they're never going to win? You know what I mean? I think a couple people flirt with that in AEW. But anyway.
I have an idea of how they can these two men, it doesn't matter where the title goes right now. What matters is if they have a good match and if they can turn this into a good feud. If this is a one-off that turns into like a 3-month thing, they've both won here. Because Miro, he got a moment where he became a champion. They're like, yes, they pulled the plug. No, just because you win a title doesn't mean they pull the plug. I.e., go down the locker room hallway, you see Christian lost the title 5 days after he won it. Mm-hmm. But guess what? You talked more about him afterwards because of it. If Miro is to lose the title right away, you're kind of like, oh, this is BS. Fans, we go to that extreme like that. But here's the thing. You talk more about Miro because of it. And because of that, he's here instead of there. But if these guys can have a match where maybe they don't even solve anything and it's a draw or it's one of those scenarios where nobody wins and you get another one, I think that's better. Not only for the title, because we saw the title always getting defended. What happens if there's a stalemate finally? What happens if it's a true battle and it's a true fight for this title? That's different, and that's how you make both men, I think. You make the win really matter. That first person that gets a real win, that's how you make them.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to these two, I would like it to see it go a little longer than just a one-match blow-off. Like, I think this would be a good first real feud for Miro as champion. And I would like to see it go further. John, Goose, do you have anything to add about Miro tonight or just in general with this match coming up at Double or Nothing?
Just the only thing I can say is reiterate again. I thought Miro was fantastic on the microphone, and he didn't come across like he had memorized his
Yeah, he
lines.
came across. Yeah, and I think that's where AEW stands. Their promos always feel authentic and original because you can tell that they let their talent go out there and feel. We haven't had crowds the whole time, but they let their talent be loose and free and go, hey, here are the bullet points. Make sure you hit them, but like, go be you. Go be your character, And I think it's refreshing when you see so many other shows where a lot of promos, not everyone, because there's good people working everywhere that make it not feel that way sometimes, but you can tell they're a lot more scripted or regimented at least, and they feel a little bit less free. I'll put it that way. Naturally, yeah. All right, we are then at our main event of the evening, and I thought it was a good one. It was the Young Bucks against the Varsity Blondes for the NXT Tag Titles. Big spot for the Varsity Blondes. Main event of Dynamite. They were the number 1 ranked tag team, but these are two relatively newer, younger wrestlers, and to main event a Dynamite with the Young Bucks, that's a big spot for them, and I thought they lived up to it. I thought they were very good. I thought Pillman was strong in this match. I think Griff Garrison is a future star. His hot tags are amazing. The Young Bucks are the Young Bucks. I loved the thing at the beginning where they played it off like it was Bret Hart giving the sunglasses kind of to a kid, where they gave Nakazawa the thing that was on top of like their headbands, and he was flipping out, and they're kind of pointing at him, giving him, yeah, man. Like it's this little kid. Just the Young Bucks continuing to be just these horrific asshole-ish trolls that they are. They troll throughout the whole match, and it's just it's so over the top, but it's over the top to like not the perfect degree, because I know it's not for everybody, but they're just like the way they consistently troll during the match is like, brutal. All right, Goose, I will go with you. Are you all right, bro? You throwing things?
No, I'm also watching Oilers playoffs, so.
Oh yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's a
Fucking
long
Oilers. That's all I'm gonna say.
My Bruins won again tonight, so party. But it's a long series. It'll be all right. Goose, I will start with you. What did you think of this main event match? And what do you think about the Varsity Blondes first? Why don't we have you start with what you thought about the Varsity Blondes and what you saw from them tonight, and then just in general the match?
The Varsity Blondes, I like their act. I do think that I like Pillman better than I like the other guy. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but Griff Garrison kind of strikes me as kind of generic, sort of like a guy you would like create in a video game if you were trying to do like a Chris Jericho approximation, or one of those guys from like early WCW, like, he kind of
generic wrestler C.
He kind of strikes me as that. The girl, I don't know anything about her.
I believe her name is Julia Hart. I thought I saw Spencer say that it was Julia Hart.
Okay, but is she
Julia.
Is she a heart though? Like, is she
that? I don't. I mean, I don't know if she's like an actual heart or if it's just the name.
Okay, because like I don't recall ever like I wrestle in Calgary a lot, so and I don't recall ever meeting her. Like I say,
and there we go. Spencer says no relation.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But I do like there is a lot of potential for sure in all three of them. I mean, and at like, of course, Pillman has the advantage of being like Brian Pillman's kid, so people are just a little bit more interested in what he's doing right now. And I do think, but I can say, I thought they were good and they played their role pretty decent. But their role tonight was to put over the Young Bucks.
Yeah, 100%,
and not vice versa. So.
Yeah, and then I will, before I segue to John. The Young Bucks do retain, and then afterwards we see Moxley and Kingston come out, and they have a little bit of a stare down, and they end up brawling, and Moxley and Kingston
commit
Yes. Moxley and Kingston end up standing tall, and then they, like as John just said, they commit theft by stealing their fancy shoes. And I loved Kingston stealing the socks as well as sticking the socks in his pockets too. Like, ooh, like he had a big smile on his face, like, yeah, and he's like excited. He's taking all their stuff. I thought that was a good touch. John, what did you think about the thievery of Moxley and Kingston and just this match and just everything in this main event had to offer?
All in general, I think this was a well-put main event. It did a lot. It got the Varsity Blondes some shine, so now people are looking at them. I know that they might be riding on the Brian Pillman, dark side of the ring thing, using that. But like you said, Griff Garrison, in my opinion, has an amazing hot tag. I actually was shocked that they give him the hot tag. It looked like that would have been a Brian Pillman Jr. thing, but it works out great for all the AEW haters that are like, why is Mox and Kingston getting a title shot? They built them up through Dark and Elevation, made them the number 5 team. They beat the 3. The 1 loses tonight, and then they said, hey, Kingston and Mox have now shot up the rankings. We're going to make this match happen. So it all tied it in really well. Now we can get one more week of a build-up before Double or Nothing. And if I'm the Young Bucks, I don't care how much money you got to get them shoes back. You know what I'm saying?
Written on the bottom of their shoes.
I believe it was the company. Was it Dior, Dior, or something like that?
Yeah,
it's the company of the
Nikes. They're like $1,000 shoes, and
they're like real expensive shoes. That's what they've been touting, and that's the type of shoe it was.
You mean it wasn't a jab at WWE? That's a shocker.
Where do you guys think that Pillman and Griff Garrison go from here?
I think they'll continue to probably be built and get wins on Dark and Elevation. I see them filling in the role. Like whenever the Young Bucks lose the tag titles and they start focusing on like the other teams in the division, I see them as one of the teams in the division that will be near the top of the division. I think it's like you said, Goose. I think it's a good act. I think they have the varsity jackets, which look cool. They wear the similar outfits. They got the manager / valet girl with them. Like they have a good shtick. So,
and I wonder if they're going to add. I don't want them to go full WWE and add a bunch of titles and make them irrelevant. But they are, with the news today, moving to TBS in 2020.
Yes, that's what I was going to have us end with tonight. Yeah, for sure.
And then, so I didn't mean to cut you off there. But
it's all good. No, it's all good.
They're adding an extra show on Friday nights.
Unbelievable.
So, that's what I do.
No,
that's what I do.
But no.
But then that's why I think that, maybe they can. I don't know if they do 2 tag titles. That might be too much. But they have like 30 tag teams. So maybe another mid-card title of some type. Maybe get, and you can see the Varsity Blondes doing some stuff there. I think Pillman Jr. has an opportunity to be a good single star. And then Griff Garrison he's got I don't know. Like you said, he's kind of generic, but I think he's coming into his own.
Yeah. And I think a guy like Garrison, he's so young that like, he's already kind of at this level, like in a solid tag team. He's in a main event at Dynamite. Like when we see him, whenever he's ready, if he gets ready enough to have that singles push, like he could be a completely different guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? By the time it gets there. So, Parrish, before I get to you to kind of round out this, our buddy Ed, the TBS part of it, I was going to have like a double take with you. So Parrish, when I hand it off to you, talk about this match and what you thought. And then our buddy Ed, this is the question I wanted us to all answer.
My Sammy dancing.
We ran before we leave. Thoughts on the move to TBS and adding a Friday show called Rampage. So Parrish, first talk about the Young Bucks or whatever the main event, what you liked, what you didn't like, and then we'll go around the panel and talk about how we feel about the move to TBS before we get out of here.
I like the idea of giving the Varsity Blondes like a chance to shine. Like I thought that was the takeaway more than anything else. And then obviously the escalation of Young Bucks with Kingston and Moxley. Like obviously those were the goals of this matchup. But we talk about the Acclaim. I would love to see, we talk about Varsity Blondes. I would love to see them work with the Acclaimed. I think those are teams that you're not going to put them in the tag title scene right now, and they could be one of those kind of just lower card tag team feuds that would help benefit the tag division. Or you can have whoever but you know where I'm kind of going with. I don't know. People might enjoy the Young Bucks doing this shtick that they're doing. I literally want to see a Randy Orton punch him in the face. It's not even the fact that I think they're good heels or good whatever. I think they've always been over the top, regardless of if they're baby faces or heels. But holy crap, do they got to just start doing their own stuff instead of always taking jabs at somebody else? Because it seems
that's the
like
shtick, though. That's the shtick.
I know, but it seems like even in the indies, they could take the jabs, and because of their situation, you'd only get in trouble if you took the jab back. And it's like, at some point, I'd like to see somebody just like one of them. I personally think they're overrated. Just like Kenny Omega, I think they're a little overrated. But with that being said, yes, I mean, this is going to be an interesting dynamic between Kingston, Moxley, and the Young Bucks. Total style conflict, though. If people think the Young Bucks aren't going to take a giant ass kicking and be kind of like what Shawn Michaels was against Taker in Hell in a Cell, and then just find that easy way to get, or like something happens where they're Johnny on the spot and take advantage, which I think will happen. That's it. Also, going to that TBS Rampage, I really thought Up, Down, Down was going to do something with the Rampage name, but that's beyond anything I could think of. Maybe it's already been done before. I don't know. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. But with that being said, I think it's healthy for TNA or for AEW to do something with TBS. They're both TNT and TBS are both Turner Broadcasting, so like it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I actually think TBS is in more households than TNT.
Yes.
So I think TBS is in slightly under 1 million more households throughout the United States. So
well, we don't get TNT in Canada. We have to watch AEW on TSN, but we do get TBS.
All right, yeah. So then I'm assuming that'll make it. I mean, yeah.
I already saw a graphic of the TNT title, and they took TNT off and put TBS, and let me tell you, that looks awful.
That is a. Yeah,
so
I wonder what they're going to do there.
Are they leaving TNT? Are they not going to be on there
so they're going to be
on.
No,
the NHL is going to be on TNT moving forward.
Yeah, so the
now.
NHL,
the NHL.
Yeah, the NHL bought the rights to TNT for TNT bought the rights to the NHL. So I think that's part of the move. And I think they said they're going to do quarterly events on TNT. So they'll have live during the week quarterly events, almost like Clash of the Champions was in WCW type thing. They're going to do that.
Say Friday Night Dynamite has a nice ring to it.
It does. But they'll be moving to TBS in 2022. So that's
a ways
what
away.
happened. Yeah, we still got all this year, and Rampage I think they said will debut in August, I believe, and that'll be Friday nights at 10:00, and it'll just be 1 hour show. So I see that maybe
really generic name for a show.
But yeah, I think the move it's more households. So John, I'll let you go for a little bit. What do you think about them moving? Them moving to TBS and the new show coming up on Friday. I mean, more AEW is all right with me. So
yeah, absolutely. Calm down, wrestling Twitter. The sky is not falling. Everybody was freaking out today. It's a.
You mean they haven't freaked out on Twitter already?
Well, but they're like, "Oh, AEW's already moving." It's a lateral move. It's to a, like you said, more households channel. It's a same time slot, same everything. You just got to go a couple channels over and it's there. I like an idea of, a Friday night hour-long show. Just I don't know what it's going to look like yet. I mean, obviously we're ways away from that. I hope it's not like, just all Dynamite segments and then like
Yeah.
one event match. I really hope that they use that as like a platform to keep building on their stars. I mean, they have the roster. The thing, their roster is deep, and there's people that they're not even using that are just sitting home right now collecting those checks. So might as well get some use out of them. So I'm all for it, man. I'm always on the side of more wrestling is great because you know what? Gives us more opportunities to do stuff like this. So
Absolutely. All right. So before we get out of here, let's do our plugs and do all that business. Goose, I will throw this up for you, my friend.
Oh, good.
All right. Anything else you would like to plug besides your lovely Pro Wrestling Tees store? Anything coming up soon or anything this week? Or
Of course, my horse. Monday Night Shaw was released this Monday with TJ Cannon, who is a young wrestler out of the Alberta Wrestling Academy. So go check out Monday Night Shaw on the Backbreaker Media Network. Just search Backbreaker Media on any of your podcast apps or whatnot. I usually use Podbean, but it is on like Spotify and a couple other platforms as well.
Very
of course, please do buy a Canadian Goose t-shirt. That really does help me out a lot because I get a portion of the proceeds for that. And I'm super broke all the time.
Well, that's sad. I shouldn't be laughing at that. I'm sorry. I'm not a jerk.
But
I'm not a jerk.
the delivery was terrific.
Yes. All right. And then, Parrish, I will slide to you, and I will throw this puppy up.
Goose always knows how to bring a smile in a bad situation. That's always a thing.
Yeah.
That's why you're one of the greatest performers right now in the Alberta scene. So, boom, shout out. But please go to donate-tiltify.com/@pudding-u-over/St. Jude. I do fucking nail that. The people over at Putting You Over, see what I did there, are doing a great job of raising awareness for the St. Jude's Hospital, who are doing their part to help the children who are going through troubled times. Like I said on Sunday, actually every time, month of May, this is a time to do it. It is May 19th. You only have, it's nearing the end of May already. So please take the time, go there. If you do have a couple bucks here and there, please go donate to this. Do what you can to help other people, especially the kids. They are the future, and you never know. Love wrestling, where we're always looking for new recruits. There could be, you never know. Could be a little one coming up. You never know. So
you never know.
Could be the future of everything. So please take the time to help out the kids because they do put a smile on our faces, and we at Love Wrestling like to put a smile on your face. So please, full circle.
There you go. Our buddy Ed, honk for the Goose, my man. All right, John, I will end this with you. Maybe I think something to talk about maybe on the Love Wrestling airs tomorrow night again. I think I'm not sure, but anything to plug, my friend.
No, I don't got anything going on at all ever. What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah,
I got the day off. I might, cut the grass. No, tomorrow night, 8:30. We made it to episode 2, JPJ.
We did. We made it to episode 2.
I
didn't think this day would come. I didn't think this day would come.
I'm gonna hope that we can keep the lights on long enough to get through. I blew the budget last week.
Ed's like, use that budget again. Do it.
If you don't have lights, I'll use this shine for you guys.
Spencer, if you're listening, I need you to scrape a little bit of money out of the bottom of the budget so we get down to episode 2. You got to spend money to make money, Spencer. Tomorrow night, 8:30 on all of the Love Wrestling platforms. Me and JPJ, we're going to do our thing.
We sure are.
That's right.
What is the concept of your show, guys?
There is.
It is literally just us two bearded gentlemen discussing the week's happenings of wrestling. So, we do it more of
just a loose show.
A looser show. We definitely want participation. So if you're around, join the chat, ask questions. We want the people that join us, which we had a good amount on the debut last week. We want those people to be as involved as possible. I know we do a good job on all our streams, but I think me and John align that we eventually want this show to be like almost fully interactive, like to the point where like at some point the chat and the audience will be like telling us what's the next thing we're going to be talking about type thing, you know?
Yeah.
So
So
you
you're
guys
saying
are
is
like
your
doing
show is
Sunday
like a
brunch,
good
but it's
beer.
on a Thursday night.
Your show is like a beer because even at a 5 o'clock shadow, you're still getting recognized. But the longer and the better the flow, the better the show will grow.
You know, it's pretty good. I thought last week was a lot of fun. I thought we had a good output of a lot of people showed up and watched. So I'm excited. And we're gonna have lists, we're gonna have drafts, we're gonna have all sorts of fun stuff. So we're gonna make it fun and interactive. Yeah, I love drafts. So like we're gonna have guests. Yeah, we're gonna have guests on. Like that's part of the plan. So definitely something. Oh yeah, when we're like we definitely want to incorporate guests, and once we kind of get an idea of like what more of a steadfast idea of like what the show will be. But we're very excited. I want to thank everyone for joining along. Our buddy Ed. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yes.
I just wanted to put out another shout out there. Our thoughts are with the original Marky. Of course, Marky came down with the COVID. He's also got pneumonia. So he's in ICU right now in induced coma. And I think it's a very serious situation, pretty scary for a lot of us around here. So
definitely want to keep
do your part, man. That's all
everyone do their part.
Political on it. I just make sure you're doing.
We should all be looking out. Safe. Yeah, we should all be looking out for each other. It shouldn't be hard to care about and look out for what's best for everybody. And
best wishes and a speedy recovery to Marky, of course.
Absolutely.
This might be a wrestling podcast, but we all are about the love.
And I think the world needs a little bit more of that. Thank you all for what is that? The L for love? The L for love? Yeah, there it is.
I'm actually doing it right. That was a guess, and I'm doing it right.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you.
I just wanted to see if I could stretch out the time on that episode.
Spencer's also. I think he means that in more than one way. So, but our buddy Ed sending us the love. We love you too, Ed. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you for adding comments and making this show fun this evening. And thank you three for joining me. I know the last couple of weeks with the different format of the War Report. Next week we are back to normal. My buddy Matt will be back. We will be doing our normal Thursday release. So I want to thank everyone that joined me last week.
Your belt's upside down, Parrish.
No, it's
not.
Is
upside down. Yeah, it is upside down.
Well, then, whatever.
All right. On that note,
if you want to turn it around, you got to get it.
Thank you all for joining. See you later.